Hey guys, welcome back to the CCC. Today we will be shaking up with you a sort of classic. Would you call it a classic? Not really.
I would call it a quiet classic.
Quite. That's a good word for it. It's not like something that everyone has heard of, but it is a classic gin cocktail. It's very simple. Usually we're all like, oh, we're so excited about this cocktail. And neither of us are like super excited about this today because it's not like exciting, but it is super, what's the word I'm looking for? It's consistent, it's safe, it's good every time.
I was gonna say, it's just it's simple, straightforward, crisp, easy. We always use the word approachable. This is very approachable. These are ingredients you're gonna have in your bar already, most likely. So to me, it's like when you're bored and you're like, I've done enough margaritas, I've done enough Negronis and old fashions and blah, blah, blah. This is something that's like slightly different without being crazy.
Enough Negronis?
Well, clearly not for me, but for those of you out there that have just had so many Negronis lately, you're just sick of them. So now you could have a Pegu Club.
Is there a such thing as sick of Negronis?
Not in this household, no.
Anywho, the other nice thing about it is you can feel free to mess with this recipe and riff on it all you want. Use, flavored gins or add in some simple syrups with stuff in them or add in extra liqueurs. Or, feel free to have a good time with this one. But we will be presenting the very classic Pegu Club today. There is some very long and lengthy explanation about this cocktail that we will spare you the details of. Suffice to say, it's a club in India.
Burma, Rangoon, yeah.
Yeah.
It was.
No, it is.
It still is? Are we sure about that?
It is.
Okay.
Not sure. I think it still is. I think it's a gentleman's club.
Okay.
There was a bar in New York by the same name, Pegu Club, and it was actually a big thing of its time. It was a sort of a landmark in the cocktail world, and sadly, it closed its doors actually during pandemic. So that's a little bit sad.
I was waiting for it.
So in honor of the Pegu Club, we present the cocktail to you today. Please enjoy with us.
I was going to point out also, as we get into discussing ratios and the ingredients, obviously you can tell we've got gin, we've got dry curacao, you could use Cointreau, etc. If you take out the Angostura and the orange bitters, you pretty much have a gin margarita.
Sure do.
Not the exact ratios, but certainly very similar. Just as I was getting this prep today, I started thinking this is sort of a gin rita.
Well, as everything is, right? It's a gin sour, and we've done.
Well, we normally would say it's a sour, but this one, given that it brings in the triple sec or the dry curacao, I'm starting to look at simple and looking at lime, and it's reading very much more like a margarita, which I know is a riff on a sour as well. But
you're right. Which just goes to what we've been saying all along, which is that the cocktail stuff is really not rocket science. It's all a lot of sort of, here's a formula, plug and play, fill in the blank and mix it up and wow, you have a new cocktail.
And it's very fun to practice.
It is fun to practice.
Even mistakes really can't be, well, I shouldn't say they can't be bad. They can be, but it's one of the few areas where like practice is actually fun and you screw up and you make another one, no big deal.
Yeah, but they can be bad. We've tried a few that we were going to do on the CCC and we're like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we make it?
Let's do it.
Chill your cocktail coupes because this will definitely taste better, nice and icy cold. We're going to start with 2 ounces of gin. It's a classic recipe, so I went with a very classic gin. If you wanted to get fancy and use some of those flavored gins that are out there, use your Empress for fun or use a Hendrix, for fun, you're welcome to. That just, turns it into a riff of a classic, but we're going to keep it classic today.
Yeah, I'm using this guy just because I haven't used him in a while. It's Ungava. It's actually from Quebec. I didn't get it in Quebec. I've never been to Quebec, but I must have found him at Spec at some point in the last year, and I realized I've not used him in a while, so I want to give him some attention.
It's nice that you're a very equal opportunity gin guy.
Absolutely. Spread the wealth.
3/4 dry curacao. Now, the Pegu Club does specify, or does it actually, it always says triple sec, but a couple of recipes that I saw specified dry curacao and said if you don't have the dry curacao, do the Cointreau. I think because it's a little bit heftier than using a regular triple sec or a Paula's.
Yeah, but it's interesting they call for Cointreau, which doesn't have cognac or brandy in it.
Is it not?
No, Cointreau Noir does.
Interesting.
Grand Marnier has cognac in it, but.
So that's a little curious, but everything I read said Dry Curacao or Cointreau.
Well, we're using Dry Curacao because it's a cool bottle and we like it. At least, well, I like it. Are you a fan?
Big fan, but I've been a big fan lately of brandies and cognacs in general, actually. They do a lot of heavy lifting while still making the flavor profile, light. So
yeah, I'm not into, I need to get into them. Although I think a brandy and cognacs is more wintry, nightcap, cool weather.
Yeah, but I've not been drinking very seasonally.
Well, in your case, you just turn the AC down to like 60 and wrap a blanket and start drinking cognac.
With my smoking jacket.
With a smoking jacket. Your ascot.
Half an ounce of lime.
Teaspoon.
Bar spoon?
Yeah. Which, unless you have a really giant bar spoon, I found is basically a teaspoon. But it's just a cool looking teaspoon. You have the standard spoon guy?
Yeah, which actually is terrible for doing this because
I was going to say, that could be dangerous if you're not holding it right.
You got to hold it right. You got to do it right. 1 bar spoon, simple.
So this is our favorite spoon. Show the back of it on the top. There's a little SS on it. So standard spoon, this was it's a husband and wife, I want to say, that started this collection. This particular spoon is sold out. It's always sold out, but if you can ever find it, either through their website or through Amazon, it is worth every penny of the, $40? It's not cheap.
Not cheap, but if you hold it here, it does the stirring for like it's.
Yeah, it's the greatest tool in our bar for sure.
1 dash each, Ango and Orange.
If you had these fancy dasher bottles in your fancy bar, you wouldn't have to unscrew the lid. It takes an extra like 3 seconds to do that. Much more efficient.
Wow. Epitome of a first world problem right there.
Well, you got all these fancy tools. I'm just surprised you haven't partaken in the dashers yet.
Well, those are more for display, I guess.
Well, you should see how can I fill these guys up.
Yeah, I guess for efficiency's sake, it is a slightly more efficient, but I'm running out of
space.
Yeah, I mean, my bitters are crowded. Like,
sounds like you need a contractor who specializes in home bars.
Add ice and shake.
Are you cold?
So cold.
You're just looking for an excuse to drink brandy right now.
Maybe that's why I like brown spirits. They don't get cold when I'm making them. I'm super weird about being cold.
I like that glass.
Isn't it pretty?
Yeah.
Got it at a very fancy place.
Fine strain. One thing about garnishing this cocktail, because it is like a true classic, it's nothing that was just invented on Instagram 2 weeks ago. We're not going fancy on garnishes. So classic lime wheel, slice on the edge so it sits right on the edge of the glass. And that's it.
I mean, does anything say summer more than this drink right here?
It does look refreshing.
It does look refreshing.
I was waiting for some other comment about drinking this by the pool. So we'll just take what you said there and call it a day.
This is definitely a lifestyle cocktail. You should whip up a batch of these, chug it down by the pool.
Enjoy the classic Pegu Club cocktail. We are going back to the kitchen for Thursday. We're bringing peaches in for the first time. We're roasting peaches. So you want to roast some peaches ahead of time. Just take 1 peach, slice it, roast it, or grill it, either one, along with some fresh mint, some tequila or mezcal, your preference. I have a pretty good feeling what Rice is bringing, and then some Aperol.
That sounds tasty as all hell.
Yeah, I'm excited. We haven't done peaches yet. It'll be good.
Right.
See you guys Thursday.
I can't wait.
Cheers, Rice.
Cheers, Jason.